Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're live today at the episode of Bridging the Gap. Thank you for joining us today, this evening. And we have Sahan here joining us. You
Hello,
know him
everyone.
from, yeah, you know him from Champions of Wellness and other podcasts as well. And today our subject will be car chemicals exposed. Wow, this is a long series of toxins and allergens in our environment, in our daily lives. And this is, where are we at? Is this number five, six, something like that? We covered so many of these toxins and allergens. As soon as Sahan gets this slide up, we'll start on the way. Okay, so we're talking about chemicals in the car. Oh, God. I think you've heard of the VOCs, volatile organic compounds. We've heard of phthalates in the very first podcast we did for this because they were in all your skincare products. And then we're adding flame retardants. Well, we already covered flame retardants in the furniture section, which was a couple episodes ago, and the fact that they off gas. And so this time we're talking about cars. Now, just imagine your car being a more concentrated environment of what's in your house. Because in your house, you have more space to walk around and do things. But in a car, it's like you're in a sitting on a furniture locked in, not too much space, and you're locked in, and you're sitting in a chair, and all the other, the car materials, you're surrounded by it. So your mini environment in the car, you don't have that much space, and yet you have off gassing, you have from the flame retardants, you have VOCs, phthalates, and all these things cause, and they get worse in the heat. So summertime, and it is a good amount worse. And you got cancerous, endocrine disruption, respiratory issues. And I mean, think about it. We're on this episode, and I was just talking about flame retardants. There are people who are just low, people who are slow. Now, let's just say, why? Why do we find these kind of crazy, weird people in this world today? Well, let's just go for it. It's the deodorant they use and the things they put on their skin. It's the what else was it? There was the aluminum foils, okay? That you're eating the food from, your burrito wrapped in an aluminum foil, which is a neurotoxin. Then they're having food in their warm food in their plastic containers, eating microplastics, right? And they've got furniture they're sitting on, and the furniture has all these chemicals of volatile organic compound. They're wearing these crazy designer clothing or, fancy jerseys or whatever they've got on. And they all have dyes that have lead, mercury, cadmium, and more. And then I think I missed a few things. The furniture, there's cookware. The cookware has a lot of things. And then you're all hooked on phones. So the Wi-Fi signal is terrible. So then we're wondering why. Why are the kids and the people these days sick, unhealthy, mentally lost, having dementia? Uh, what is the other thing where you can't remember? No,
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. Yes, and then you look for all kinds of chemicals to take, more chemicals to take when you go to the doctor to take care of the symptoms created by these chemicals that are in your daily life. Does it make sense to you, Son? I mean, what do you see? What do you see when you go to school?
Um, as far as what it, as far as
Well, you see all these things in the lunch cafeteria, in your schools, the people that are using it, and then do you notice the behaviors?
well, I think it varies from person to person, but definitely the people who are um using products that we've talked about on on here. Definitely, you can sense that there's like a more lethargic look to them. Like I feel like tiredness and laziness is like I don't want to say definitive, but it's like more prominent, I guess, in
What
people
about
who are
memory
not
issues?
making. Yeah, that goes the same with it. That
But during,
school is harder.
mhm.
It definitely it's more of a lot harder to pay attention and focus.
Well, I see that you guys have so much easier time in many ways than when I went to school because you got the internet that's available to you to look up information and do things, right? Yet, the, the percentage of people in school these days that are not competent seems high.
Yeah, that's a mix of things. Definitely with the all the toxins that are out there affecting development, especially of the brain when they're growing up. Also, getting not getting the right nutrition, definitely affecting their capacity to learn and how easy it is for them. Because definitely, if they were eating healthy, nutritious meals every day, being outside, a lot of these tasks that are asked of us nowadays wouldn't be much of a struggle. Should be relatively simple. Not saying easy, but a lot easier than it is now that we have all these distractions plus all these toxins coming into our body. And then you just add on the whole thing with AI and people are now cheating. Now you have a bunch of incompetent
For sure.
people in the workforce.
Yeah. I mean, literally, the science is saying that people are not getting smarter and smarter. They're getting dumber and dumber.
Yeah, and that's also the cheating and the using other sources to um, do the critical learning at like younger ages is definitely not helping in expanding the what is it, neuroplasticity of the brain, and then you add the toxins on top of that, and you're not giving your body what it needs to create new uh, neural connections and pathways. So pretty
No.
much trying to make these like dumb zombies that can follow everything, and if you wanted to, kind of have control as a society, then I guess society is breeding the exact people that it wants to.
You got it. It's very easy nowadays, right? Give them a fancy new car with all kinds of bells and whistles inside, and they're like, yes, I want that.
Hmm.
And then they take all those chemicals with them, and they don't even know that. They're like, yes, I got this new car. Then about 5, 10 years, 20 years down the line, they're having problems slowly, right? Hormone disruption, can't focus. Imagine you got a new car and you're trying to head to school and you've got a test going on, right? What do you think is going to happen? No, I mean, for me, I know whenever I'm sitting in a new car where I have that new car smell, it bothers me now. It bothers me. I start getting a headache. I don't feel right. My breathing starts to go off. That's how I feel in a new car. Other people think, "Wow, I want that new car smell." I don't know what's exciting about a new car smell with all those chemicals.
Yeah, I think it's just like I think it just reminds them of something new, and I don't know. That's just a false perception that everyone has that smelling this chemical smell means it's something new and something nice. But I
Yeah,
don't know. Definitely, if you have a new car, I would just if it's not raining outside, just let it air out and keep the windows down and the doors open if you can, just to off gas all of the new seating, regardless of the material that it is, just to give way. Because if you're smelling that new car smell, then that's definitely a sign that um, you need a further off gassing.
yeah. I mean, look at it. It's caused cancer, endocrine disruption, respiratory issues, right? So let's just start off with the first article. Read 'em. The benzene formaldehyde cancer risk for drivers. Benzene and formaldehyde, we already covered these. We covered these in furnitures. We covered formaldehydes in clothing. So watch the episodes previous to these, and they cause cancer. They're a higher risk for cancer. So basically, for drivers. So who's a driver? Most people in this country are drivers. So if you're a driver or you sit in a car as a passenger, it's not just for drivers, it's for drivers and passengers who sit in a car. It's a cancer risk, especially if you're going on a long trip and in the summer. Yeah, that's even worse, right? So I had a friend that what she'd always do is leave the car open, windows down, especially in the summer, just to off-gas a car. And her car was older, but didn't matter. She'd always, because those chemicals stay. A lot of these are forever chemicals. The flame retardants, forever chemicals. We learned that in I think it was the last one, last podcast, right? When we were talking about nonstick things. Nonstick things are flame retardants. And because they handle high heats and things like that, they're forever chemicals. They stay, they don't go. So they can continue to off gas and cause problems all day long. So the benzene and the formaldehyde being a cancer risk, that is huge. In this article, the problem that each one of these articles that I read has is that there's not been enough studying. Nobody's looking into this. Okay, nobody wants to know what are the things that are really destroying people's health every day. So it can't, everything we've covered, every subject that we've talked about here, nobody's covering half the information. So if you're looking at articles, there's 3 articles here, but the first article alone said there's not enough research because, and so did the next one, because the guidelines are old. And the chemicals, the things that they're spraying on chemicals are new. But then they're coming up with new synthetic things, which they weren't in the past. For example, in the old days, the cars, you had leather cars. You had leather seating. No? The cushions were different. Um, you know, they didn't make all this plastic and synthetic stuff. There was more wood and metal in the cars inside. Now it's not leather, it's not wood, it's metal, it's not metal. You know, you don't even know if your car's exterior is metal half the time, the way it gets damaged. But it's synthetic, right? And so the second article, and I'm just went straight fast over the first one because we've already covered it. But in the next article, it's all about the flame retardants, and it's talk about the cushions and the foam in the seats and the material the foam is made out of and the microfibers and all that you're exposed to. And now the hotter it is already, just being in a car, it's already 4% higher or more, or 4 times higher than the exposed rate you're supposed to be the rate you're supposed to be exposed to. So it's already 4 times worse for you, these chemicals. And then add heat to it, and it goes to more than 9 times worse. Okay. And these are all these chemicals that they are dichloro phosphates. There's a whole bunch of these trichloro isopropyl phosphates and things like that. And they all are in the seat foam, strongly influenced by temperature. They had, median concentration of the main chemicals were 2 to 5 times higher in the summer than in the winter. Roughly 4 to 12% higher sample concentrations per 1 degree centigrade rise in temperature. And that depended on the compound. So 4 to 12 times higher every 1 degree it goes up. And that's crazy. So basically, these are models they use in this study, models from 2015 and newer. And this is where they found things. This is where the study was done. So when they did this study, first of all, the guidelines were older, and now the study that they did on certain samples. So what they found, though, that these flame retardants were worse from the foam in the summer than the winter. But they found that electric vehicles, it was better than gas or hybrids for whatever reason. That's what their information showed. So if you've got an electric vehicle, maybe you're less exposed. But then their question was the electrical vehicles that they were looking at. Um, it was specific manufacturers. So not all manufacturers make electrical vehicles, right? Electric vehicles. This is 2015. This was 11 years ago. So at that time, not all um, car manufacturers were making electric vehicles. So that was probably more Tesla than any other company at that time. So maybe it was that Tesla as a company had better stuff in their cars than other cars because they did not name um, brands here, car names here, um, for a reason to say they didn't want to. They weren't pointing fingers at car brands, just the item or the material the cars were made of. So electrical vehicles, you're better off, and it's probably Teslas that you're better off. Um, yeah, I mean, this is what this article said. And again, what these things do, liver cancer, lots of different kinds of cancers, depending on the chemical it is, but definitely liver cancer, endocrine disruption, and because you're breathing all these things in, it's respiratory issues, right? So also, I know that when I'm sitting in a car like that, I get brain fog, and I have a hard time holding my energy properly. No, so that's what I got for those two articles there, Redham and Hone. What do you got, Sahan?
So the last one that you see on this list is from Geis, and for this study, they looked at air quality inside 23 different cars, measuring a lot of the same things that you've already talked about, like the volatile organic compounds or VOCs, carbonyl compounds like formaldehyde, phthalates during both the summer and winter months. And the cars were monitored for around 7 days, and also cabin temperature was tracked. And the biggest finding that they had from this study was that chemical concentrations were about 40% higher in the summer when the temperatures inside the cars reached almost 70 degrees Celsius, which is pretty hot and equivalent to 158 degrees Fahrenheit. And the researchers believed that the heat increased off gassing from materials inside the vehicle. So, off gassing, I guess that we can see now is pretty much triggered by any form of heat. It said although even 40%, it increased 40% when it was 158 degrees inside the car, that still means that gas is circulating in there in those summer months. And if you can, put your car in the garage, if you have one, that might be a much better idea because you're not having to off gas your vehicle every time you step in it in the hotter months. But of course, that depends if you have accessibility to a garage or not. And just for some of the compounds, some of the most notable results were um, benzene, which was as high as 149.1 uh, micrograms per meter squared. Um, Toluene was 36.9 um, in the car in the summer compared with 6.5 in residential air. And sorry, I forgot to do the median benzene. In the car, the median benzene was 7.9 compared with 1.9 for residential comparison. So they're like almost um, double, if not, sometimes fivefold or five times the concentration in the air for some of these chemicals when they're off gas in the car. So that just shows you how much chemicals and how synthetic your cars really are at the end of the day. Not to say that not all everything else around us in this day and age is, but your car is definitely one of the more significant ones, and it's also something like you said already. It surrounds you. It's like you're in a big cabin full of all these uh, toxic chemicals, and even though we need our vehicles to get us from place to place, um, in this day and age, it's just good to be aware of all of these different compounds that are in your car and getting off gas so that you can take action to off gas or limit your time in the vehicle as much as possible.
Yeah. I mean, it's very concentrated environment in there. And think about it, because when you turn your car on in the summertime, it's still hot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So until the AC kicks in and cools down the car, it's still hot. And it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter how old your car is. I mean, I still go in my car now. It's what, 20, when did we get that? 2022?
22.
Yeah. And yet I still, you smell the chemicals, right? It's not as bad, but it's still there.
Mm-hmm.
You're still exposed to the chemicals. And then you sit in there, it's hot. You sit in there while waiting for it to cool down because you got to rush to drive somewhere. You don't think about it. So you jump in the car at the last minute and you're exposed to all that for at least a good 5 minutes. And then you don't really clean out your air. You're not leaving the windows open, right? Because you're like, okay, let me let the AC build up.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to build it up is to keep your windows closed, not air it out. So basically, you close yourself off into an environment that is toxic, and in the worst time when it's hot. And so it's not the best environment. It's very concentrated environment. You're breathing it in. You're absorbing it through your skin. There are many ways that you're taking this toxic chemical uh, into your system in the car. Now let's talk about what can you do about this situation. First, they're saying get a used car. That is kind of off gas. So you're getting a car that's not as bad as a brand new car. You know, there may be some things about that car because it's not new. You don't know if it. Oh, people say, okay, well, it's a used car. Of course, um, it's less toxic than a new one. And then it's saying that you use a HEPA filter in your cabin. You can use HEPA filtered vacuums when you vacuum things up in the car. Ventilate the car, keep your car windows down, as Sahan was saying. Keep them cracked open when it's not raining. Um, Avoid the hot parked car, like I was just saying. They're saying to use vinegar cleaners in your car. Maybe. I mean, I guess you could use that. Vinegar itself is has its own vapors, but yeah, you can do those things. The study that Hone did was talk about electrical vehicles, or maybe a little bit better than other ones. But then electrical vehicles have their own troubles. So you gotta, in a way, it's pick your poison kind of situation here. You know, pick your poison. If it's a new car with all kinds of things in it, that's what it is. There's not much to do except for deal with this, or maybe somebody can come up with a new way to develop a car that doesn't have all this stuff in there. I
Or
don't know how.
at least I think what would make the biggest difference is whatever the seats are made out of, because that's like sometimes what's in direct contact with your skin.
Hmm.
So whatever is in direct contact with the skin would be the steering wheel, the seats, and maybe um, the uh, the flooring, or I don't know how you would describe it in a car, but the bottom where
The rubber flooring.
yeah, where you place your feet. If those can be done with natural materials, probably I think the best one I'm thinking would be the hemp, right? Because
And or leather.
yeah, hemp or leather. Yeah, if those can be,
Yeah,
if it can be done with either of those naturally, and I know nowadays most of the leather is synthetic leather that they're using in these cars. So
of course. I
if
mean, how much leather can you get, right?
yeah, so I guess I'm just thinking from a car perspective, if it would be really expensive of them to get like real real animal leather without the add-on being or the add-on option being like ridiculously expensive.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking whoever can make a car that has some like woven hemp or is made out of something much better than what we have right now. That could
Hemp
definitely
and
be
maybe lyocell, which is a natural rubber product. Maybe those two might work. Yeah, that's a good point. Hemp.
yeah.
There's also bamboo. Bamboo can work.
Hmm. Yeah, people
Uh,
like experimenting with all these different natural materials that are not going to be carcinogenic. And just to go over, I have like a list of some of these chemicals that I've listed and kind of a little insight into what each of them do to the body. So benzene, I know you've talked about already, is a known human carcinogen, which that's a huge red flag right there in itself. Anything that's carcinogenic is pretty much going to be um, harmful or severely toxic to our body. Uh, Toluene is another volatile organic compound, and this one affects the central nervous system, causing symptoms such as headaches, dizziness, and impaired coordination. So that was some of the things that you were talking about when you're in the car and not feeling very well, especially in the hotter months.
mhm.
Ethylbenzene is one that's associated with petroleum products, and it's also another possible human carcinogen. Xylenes, also like the toluene, affect the nervous system. It can irritate the eyes and respiratory tract. So if you feel like that's something being triggered and when you're in the vehicle, then that could be a big sign that you need to off gas it a little bit or keep your car in a cooler environment if possible. I think even as simple as like parking under a tree can help because having the shade definitely um, will reduce the amount your car is off gassing all these chemicals
Yeah,
because that I think the shade when it's really hot out in the summer months that can be like a 20 to 30 degree difference, which is pretty
yeah,
significant.
I agree with that. That makes total sense. And putting it in the shade, um, trying to find a way to get around some of these chemicals with um, the kind of material they use in a car, but I don't know how to get the car producers to use the things that we're just talking about. I was
Yeah,
just looking up the material, the foam is a big culprit for health issues. That's what the second paper was talking about. And here are things that you can make natural foam pads, not foam, but the seat from the cushion, and you can use natural latex, and it could be GOLS certified, organic, and then wool, organic cotton or linen, like it's saying, make it like batting, and batting type cotton and wool. Basically, it's filler, and then coconut coir. So basically, the outside of the coconut stuff, and buckwheat hulls or Kapok, whatever that is. But basically, use those things to make the seat cushion from. And then the material can be, like we said, leather, hemp, bamboo, with some lyocell in it or whatever it is. That would be great. And, maybe another option in the wintertime specifically, or even in the summer, is to somehow wear some healthy gloves to protect you from the steering wheel, maybe. I don't know. People don't want to wear things when they're
Or
driving.
there could be a steering wheel cover, like there are a lot now these days, where
Hmm.
you can maybe there are natural ones out there. I haven't looked into it, but if there are
Okay.
possible ones, that probably could be good. Maybe also a lot of people I've seen have done like seat covers as well. I don't
Hmm.
know if adding seat covers can help in or natural seat covers can help in any way. Definitely, it probably will help with the skin, but I'm not sure those
Yeah.
chemicals will still probably be off gassing to a certain degree.
Yeah, it'll still off gas. I mean, it may off gas right through their gases, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they may off gas right through the seat cover too, but at least the contact will be a little bit better than what you're saying. So these are options. These are all options. Good options. I mean, things that we just thought of right here, right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Steering wheel covers, good seat covers, and things like that. So this is what we got. I mean, be mindful, pay attention. We've learned a lot of things from this whole series, that there are so many chemicals out there that are really not good for you in every aspect of your life. And the more and more I do the series, the more and more I feel disappointed at the world we live in. And how do we let this happen? How do we let this happen? How do we let all these chemicals into our lives without noticing? And still, nobody's doing the research, and there are no proper studies being done. There's no proper guidelines of how to create these vehicles, and the companies are doing whatever they want. It's a terrible thing. And yet, our bodies are degrading, our lifespans are lessening, our quality of life is going down, and nobody's paying attention. Nobody cares. No, I hope people watch this video and pay attention, and maybe somebody does something about it. But yeah, I like the series. I just decided to do it. Didn't realize how much I would learn from it, but I think every episode I learn a lot more. And I think this is a subject I'd really like in many different ways to bring the people and let people know to make mindful choices, because everybody's making mindless choices. They see the next new fad and they want it, right? The hottest new car out there. Let's go get it. And maybe you want to think twice before you do that. Sometimes old is gold, and there's a reason why that
Yeah,
thing's
there's a
there.
lot of good classic cars out there. Maybe they're you know harder to maintain and harder to keep going, right? But I think if you care for it and if you're someone into cars, go for the old classic ones. You'll separate yourself a bit rather than getting uh the newest ones. But obviously, like reliability and finding an older car that's in good condition is all a problem. But I would say making that extra effort, you get two in one. You get a really cool, unique car, and then you also get one that is not maybe as polluted with all these synthetics like all these newer ones are.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And well, thank you for watching. You have anything more to say, Son?
Just the one other thing is now that you're kind of aware with all these toxins and understand that there's like layers on layers and layers, so you have to not only add the amount of toxins that you're getting exposed to from the cars, but now you have to add it and compound it with the cookware, um, with the EMFs, with your clothing, with your skincare products, and just add up that amount. And sometimes when you look at all these things individually, the numbers according to all the guidelines say that it's allowable. But if you add up everything all together, that's a lot of toxicity coming into your body. So the only
Yeah.
way you can really do something is go detox. Otherwise, it's pretty much unavoidable in this day and age. So detox is like 100% mandatory. best way to
Actually,
do it is sauna. You can do it with acupuncture. You can do it with red light therapy and a lot of other services that we have here.
you're right. That's a good point to bring up, which we were talking about, and I totally forgot to bring up. Is that yeah, I was even reading that article about I forget what gene it is or what it is that the ticks that came out right this year. That if you get exposed to those ticks, then you can't eat red meat. Those ticks. They've done studies where they're able to do ear acupuncture, and the ear acupuncture treatment, I don't know how many, but maybe a few or whatever it is, but ear acupuncture treatment took away the allergic reaction to red meat. And those people who were not able to eat red meat just after ear acupuncture can eat red meat. So,
Wow.
can you imagine what else acupuncture can do? And that was just ear acupuncture. So, can you imagine what else acupuncture can do? So many things. And it's natural and it's healthy and it's balancing and it's more than 1,000 years old technique. People say it is nothing next to science and modern medicine, but like I said, old is gold because you know why? It's been around for a long time and things need to be tested through time. And I think over time, hopefully people wake up and see that these things that are happening in today's world are not working out. And maybe even modern medicine changes because the chemicals, we see these patients come in all the time. And a lot of times, what's happening is the chemicals that they're taking in, not just being exposed to, like we're talking about in this podcast, the chemicals we're being exposed to. What's in your pill? What do you think is in your pill? No. So if you're taking the pills, what are you doing to your liver? Your poor liver that has to clear away all these toxic compounds is getting bombarded. Okay. And it can only take so much. And, and do your liver a favor and try a different method. Try to stay away from the chemicals, whether they're external or internal. Oil Divine is a good company and has all kinds of good, healthy, non-toxic products. You can put those in your mouth. That's how good and clean they are. Okay. Don't put anything on your skin or your body that you can't put in your mouth. Oil Divine, if you go there and you use the promo code HYWBTG, they will give you free gift for every $50 you spend there, either online or in store. So please always remember to use our promo code to get yourself a gift and shop there and make this company big because it deserves it. And yeah, you have anything more to say, Sahan?
Nope. I think that wraps it up pretty well.
Thank you very much. Please go to all our social medias, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and come see us all again on Monday. Tuesdays is Bridging the Gap. On Fridays is Figuring Out Fridays. Saturdays is Girls to Women, and Sundays is Champions of Wellness podcast. But tune in to listen to them and see what they have to tell you. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. See you guys later.